My name's Mark, and you're listening to Headstraight. Hello, and welcome back. Now, let's get one thing clear straight away. This season wasn't about surface-level hacks or one-size-fits-all fixes. It was about facing what gets in your way after you've already decided to grow. Because most of you listening, you didn't need more motivation. You needed to understand why, even with all of the knowledge and intention, you still feel stuck sometimes. And that's exactly what we did in this season. You didn't just learn tools, you used them. You faced emotional burnout. You interrogated your inner critic. You set boundaries that made you feel uncomfortable. You showed up on low energy days without self-punishment, and you let progress be messy and still called it progress. And that really matters. So let's be honest. Doing the work when it feels hard is a real flex. And you did it. Maybe not perfectly, but purposefully. You actually moved from why I just can't get it together to what's actually going on underneath this resistance. You stopped seeing setbacks as personal flaws. You started seeing them as information, patterns, triggers, nervous system defaults. That change? That's foundational. You moved from pushing through at all costs to what's my sustainable pace? You learned to lower the bar without lowering your standards. You learnt to rest without guilt. You learnt to show up at 30% and still count this as a win. You learnt to build resistance without breaking yourself. You moved from I need to fix myself to I'm learning to support myself better. You got out of the shame spiral. You swapped harshness for self-awareness. You built an inner voice that could say, that was really hard, and I handled it in the best way that I could today. Now, this season was all about ownership, not in a fluffy self-help book kind of a way, in a grounded, gritty, honest way. You learned to sit with discomfort without running, to make change stick by working with your brain and not against it. You learned also to stop waiting for confidence and started showing up scared. And you learned to recognize that self-compassion is a skill, not a weakness. And when things felt heavy, you learnt to hold the thread. You kept going your way. Now, that's power. Quiet, steady, and real. Now, let me ask you a question. What do you do now differently? Not just because you heard it, but because you've lived it. That's your anchor. That's your evidence that you've grown. Now, let me set you one last final challenge of the season. I want you to pick one tool from this season that stuck with you. That moment where something clicked. Now, I want you to use it again this week. Not because you're trying to keep up, but because it works and because you can. This is how you reinforce change, by choosing it on purpose. Now, if this season gave you clarity, strength, or just made you feel less alone in the work, do one small thing to keep it going. I want you to maybe rate this show. Maybe just leave a couple of lines as a quick review. And also hit subscribe. Because this is how we're going to grow this community, with you and every person that does the same. Now, this isn't the end of the Headstraight podcast. We're going to be coming back in season 3. And in the next season, we're leveling up. Not just internally, but relationally. We're talking identity, connection, and what it means to show up for yourself and others without losing yourself in that process. No more surviving quietly. We're building something solid. You in?